I want to start with a question. And who's competitive in here? Who feels he's a competitive person? Through those hands, come on. And who likes to lose? I don't see many hands. You know, when I play game with my kids, I'm extremely competitive. I can play whatever. We can play Uno. And I always try to win. And my wife, she always gets mad. She says, you can even let them, feel good about themselves. I actually just did a race. Every time we come into the U.S., I do a race with my oldest son. We do like a 70-yard sprint. And I always won. And this year I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to win again. You got no chances. So I actually lost. I think we almost got there at the same time. And Mackenzie told me that I lost. So I had to take a walk for about 30 minutes to just, de-stress, and also because I think I pulled something, so I did. But, I don't like to lose. I don't think most of us don't like to lose. But let's hold on that thought, because we're going to come back to it later. But did you ever think about why you don't like to lose? Why do we care so much about winning, about achieving things, about proving how good we are, proving ourselves? I think it's because deep down inside our hearts, we hold onto certain symbols or ideas that defines who we are. And it's hard to do it without it. Because if we don't have an identity, we start getting lost a little bit. What do we do with ourselves, who we are? And just wanted to ask you another question. Did you ever ask yourself, or you ever thought maybe, what symbol represents your life? In the past, they put an emblem on the family, whatever, flag or whatever. If you could put one, what would that be? I don't know, maybe for me it would be a soccer ball. I don't know, I'm not sure. But I've asked this question in my church too, and one of the ladies told me, I think a pot and a ladle. Because, the most thing she thinks is about cooking for her family, providing, so she felt that was something that represented her. And I was thinking deeply about this, and what is the symbol that should represent us as Christians? The symbol of our faith. And this symbol is not a trophy, it's not a checkered flag, it's not a victorious army, but simply, it should be a cross. But from where I come from, there are crosses everywhere. So what does this really mean? A cross should be the symbol of our faith. Today, the cross can be a tattoo. It can be a jewelry item. It can be something that we see in church buildings all around us. Or maybe you hang it on your rear view mirror on your car and hope that you don't crash and pray about it. That's what we do in Italy. We have many saints. I don't, but many people do. But in fact, in my country, in Italy, 70% of the people call themselves Catholic. You'll find crosses everywhere. You'll find churches, Catholic churches everywhere. Every small town got one. 50 people, you got a Catholic church. There are public holidays that worship saints, massive processions, a lot of traditions. Under the surface, we look very Christian. But we are quietly drifting away from true Christianity. The cross is visible, but forgotten. The faith has become a cultural inheritance and is not a living transformation anymore. One Italian pastor one time said, Italy is Christian in appearance, but secular in essence. And if you're not careful, I believe the same thing can happen here too in the United States. You can have the right symbol, but miss the actual power. But if we think about the cross, in the first century, it was kind of different, the idea of the cross that maybe we have now today. The way of the cross, the way of Jesus, wasn't tested yet. Okay, we know a little bit more about it, what the first disciple knew. And no one have done it. It was risky. It was a new thing to follow. And even Jesus' closest followers, at some point, they tried to take off, to run away from it because, wow, this is dangerous. And one thing that I never really thought much about is that the cross didn't represent salvation to them initially. Did you know what the cross represented for the first century people? It represented execution. When you saw crosses around, there were people hanging on them. And they were tortured. So it wasn't, okay, I see a cross, oh, how good I feel. Actually, I want to avoid the cross. I want to stay as far as I can away from it. But in our case, in what we're going to look, when the first disciple grappled what that really means, it wasn't just a symbol for them, but start becoming a lifestyle, the way of the cross. And it's changed to be a symbol to maybe be an invitation to something. Quindi not an accessory that we wear, but a daily invitation, a daily decision to follow a way that runs completely counter to what comes naturally to us. One of the apostles, Paul, I think you all know who he is, said something in 1 Corinthians 1:18, says, the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing. But to us who are being saved, it is the power of God. So from outside, not just at that time, also today, people look at you and think you're crazy. Makes no sense. Why you go to church? Why you wasting your time? Why you do this? Why you don't do that? Why? Because every day we are tempted, also us, I'm not saying that we are exempt, to pursue more, to have more success, more recognition, more control. And what does Jesus do? He says, don't fall for that. Let go. Choose humility. Choose surrender. Choose the way that look like losing, but it is actually the path for real power. And today I want to take you through a few verses of one of the temptations of Jesus in the desert. Maybe you are familiar with the 3 temptations. Jesus was taken to the desert for 40 days, and after that the devil came and said to him different things. We're going to look at one. It's Matthew 4, 8 through 10, and it starts like that. Again the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. All this I will give you. We don't fully understand where this place was, how tall was the mountain, what he was looking at. We don't really care about that. But what we care is that the real point of this is the idea of having control. I can give you all of this. This is what you came for. To be the king over the kingdoms. I can give you all of this. Jesus, just take a look. Just take it in. Look at that. Think about the most beautiful place you went in vacation to. I think when you come back home and then say, oh man, at least I do, it would be so cool if my home was that place. And then I got to go back to my normal life instead. Or I take my car to be serviced, and while I'm waiting bored, because in Italy it takes forever to do things, they take forever, you start looking at new models. Oh man, look at this, how nice it is. And then I go back in my car and say, oh man, it's so dirty, so old. I wish I could buy another one, but I can afford it. Or maybe you meet someone. They're so sweet. And then you think, oh man, I wish my wife and my husband were like that. But they're not. I don't think like that. I'm just putting it as an example. Or where you get invited to somebody's home. And it's beautiful. It's awesome. Man, when I come here in the U.S., houses are huge. And then I go back to mine. I'm grateful for that. But it may be a thing, oh man, I would never do afford that. And those thoughts come to in my head. It feels a little bit like discontentment. But, I mean, I've been there. I think you've been there too. If you tell me no, probably you're lying. But so Jesus, feast your eyes on the kingdom of the world. I know you're here. I know you came for this. I can give them to you. You could be king of kings, king of the kingdoms. And Luke 4:6 adds one more thing. It says, I will give you all their authority, all their splendor. It has been given to me, the devil says, and I can give it to anyone I want to. So who wouldn't want this kind of prestige? Maybe you're thinking right now, oh, I never accept something like that. But if you're honest, who doesn't want to have a position of influence or be someone that counts in their life? Who says, no, I don't want to raise. No, I don't want to take some benefits, maybe if the state gives it to me. I prefer not having them. I don't think no one will do it. And we shouldn't feel guilty about that too, because, these things that have been given to us can all be very good. I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm not saying you shouldn't take a raise because you're a Christian, so you should feeling like a loser all the time. This is not what I'm saying. But when we see things through this lens, as the devil showed Jesus, this doesn't look like a temptation. It looks more like an opportunity of a lifetime. The train that passes only once, the thing you study for, the work you dreamed about. And like I said, it's not bad in itself, because we were made to pursue goals, to be creative. God is a creative God. Just look around you. Where do you live? But not everything is as good as it seems sometimes. So this is where the story turns and becomes more a temptation than an opportunity. And it continues in verse 9, all these things I will give to you if you bow down and worship me. Just one time. Just bow down and worship me, and you'll have everything you came for. All you have to do is acknowledge my authority. And this also is where it circles back to us. When we think, the examples I gave you, I want that. Whatever is a better car, a more beautiful home, a different relationship, or more influence. It's not just about the thing in itself. I want that. It's not just about that. It's about what it starts to do in our hearts. We start thinking about it. We start not be very happy about it. And like Jesus in the mountains, we are offered something that seems good. You can be the King of Kings. I guess that's what he came for, right? Even noble. But the path to getting it might require a compromise maybe we never wanted to make, or something else. And the real danger isn't just wanting, it's when the wanting start to shape us, to control us and define our decisions. This is when the thing we long for quietly, the thing we long for, we were waiting for so much time, becomes close to us. We can almost touch it. When that thing comes so close and it becomes the things we worship, then maybe it can become a problem. And that's the enemy strategy, to take something good and make it ultimate for us, to turn an opportunity into idolatry. Jesus saw it for what it was and walked away. The question is, will we? Or would we? If you're double about Christianity, maybe now you tell me, you're crazy. Devil doesn't exist. You just say a bunch of stuff. This is not temptation. This is an opportunity. And you will fall if you don't take it. Lazy people don't take this opportunity. You should take it. That's all there is. But as we go back to the story of Jesus, when the devil says, I'll give this to you, just recognize me, just one time, one bow, no more. You don't have to stay there 5 hours, you don't have to do it forever, just one time. Jesus said, verse 10, away from me, Satan. It is written, worship the Lord your God and serve Him only. Wow. I don't want your offering. You're offering me a chance to reign like every other king, to build like every other kingdom. I didn't come for this. I'm not here for this. In fact, you cannot give me what I came for. Because I came to bring something that no one has ever seen. So Jesus didn't come to be a king like other kings. He didn't come to build just another kingdom. He wasn't interested in playing with the world rules. He refused to take the path of worldly power and refused to trade God's missions for human success. But how often are we tempted in the same way? I mean, I am. I'm not sure you guys, but I am. Every day. Maybe not with kingdoms and thrones. We're good, cool, but I'm not. I'm not in the position. Maybe others are. But maybe with status, promotions, control, recognition. You can put whatever word you like there. And we are told if we can just achieve enough, if we can just earn enough or impress enough, we'll finally be satisfied. But the truth, Solomon says this is just chasing the wind. You ever try to grab the wind? It's a race with no finish line. You keep going for it, but it never ends. You're never content. And when discontentment leaks, it spills into our families, into our friendships, into our souls. And when we live lives, when I say live, I can be wrong. Sometimes I say live and it feels like I'm saying living out. So when I say live, it's like dwelling. Okay, so just a parenthesis. Okay, I'm not very good with accents and stuff like that. Some of the words, but when this contentment spills in our lives and we are driven by it, we end building kingdoms without peace. The kingdom of this world, they work in only one way: winners and losers. You either win or you lose. And if you have the most money, you win. If your side wins the argument, you win. If your success outshines others, you win. And if you lose, you are irrelevant, forgotten, and weak. This is what the world thinks. And this is the world we live in. And if we are honest, this mindset creeps also in Christianity. What's the difference? And we want to win, but with God's help. So we go to church, we sing a few songs, and we pray, God, please take me up in my race. Bring me, to the first place. Bring me to the top of my race. Let everybody else lose. The people sitting next to me, I need to come there first. Who cares about everybody else? But Jesus says, this is not a race I'm running. I didn't come to play better than everyone else. I came to do something totally different. And in Luke 9:23, it says, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves, take up their cross, and follow me. No a one-time prayer, no a check label, Christian, okay, I'm in, but a daily decision to follow a path that might look foolishness to the world. But it's actually the power of God living in you. Many Christians, I'm not saying about you guys, but in general, don't know that the cross is an invitation to something. And it's not just a symbol that we hang and we say, okay, Jesus is not there anymore. But it's a daily invitation. Every moment we face moments where we are invited to live like Him. Moment to test our willingness to forgive, to speak up, to love when it costs us something. I want to tell you a true story. You maybe have heard of this woman. Her name is Corrie ten Boom. I don't know if I said it correctly. She lived in the Netherlands during the World War II, and her family were Christians, and they they believed in helping others. So they wanted to hide people from the Nazis. And they were doing a good job until they got caught. And when they got caught, Corey, her sister Betsy, and her father were taken to the concentration camp. Her dad died there, and Corey and her sister were treated like animals, beaten, starved, and just forced to work in an horrible way. Her sister died in that camp, but before she died, she told to Corey something that she never forgave. And she said, "There is no pit so deep that God's love is not deeper still." Eventually, Corey got out of the concentration camp, and she went on and she would start preaching in different churches, sharing. Sorry if I don't want to say preaching, because maybe it's not the correct thing, but she was sharing in different churches. And one day, as she was sharing in one of those, when she was talking about forgiveness, that God can forgive everything, doesn't matter what. And at the end of her speaking, she saw a man. And when she saw him, she froze. She recognized him. He was one of the guard in the prison, in the concentration camp at Ravensbrück. And the guy came up to her, and the guy said, "What a fine message. How wonderful to know that all of our sins are at the bottom of the sea." Then he said, the guy, "I was a guard at Ravensbrück, and I've become a Christian. I know God has forgiven me, but I wanted to hear from you too. Will you forgive me?" Corey froze. What would you do? Pain, anger started to fill her up. How can I forgive a man like that? But then she remembered something. What she just taught, what she just preached. Jesus said, "Forgive others just like God forgives you." She didn't feel like forgiving at all. She just wanted to go away and never talk to that man anymore. But she prayed, "Just Jesus, help me. I can't even stand here." And with all her strength, she gave the hand to this guy. And she says this, "As my hand touched him, she felt something incredible." Those are her words. "From my shoulder, along my arm, and through my hand, a current seemed to pass from me to him, while into my heart sprang a love for this stranger that almost overwhelmed me." And she said, "I forgive you with all of my heart." She lost so much, her family, her system, her freedom. But when she forgave, she didn't lose, she won. She didn't win with power and anger, and she didn't win with love and courage. She won, with love and courage. Forgiveness might look weak, but it's one of the strongest things you can do. And that's the way of the cross. She could have held to bitterness for all of her life, but when she chose to forgive, she won. That's the paradox of the cross. Real power shows up in surrender. Real freedom begins when we let go. Faith is not, I said a prayer, I got baptized, I'm going to church, I'm saved, period. And then what? We go back to normal life. We're freaking out for everything. We are stressed out, and we try to chase the wind. This is not faith. This is not what Jesus called us to. He called us to something better, a better way to live. Not easy, but better. And if we do this, if we choose this daily invitation, you know what he says in Galatians 5:22-23? The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. This is what he will produce in us if we chose this daily invitation. Not just a moral behavior, but a transformed response to a broken world. Anger is easy. Impulsiveness is natural. Revenge feels justified. Corey should have just killed the guy right there with the handgun. Bam! That will be okay. We will say something. Probably they would clap there. Hey, good job, you did the right thing. But kindness takes strength. Patience takes power. Self-control takes supernatural help. So the question to finish is that, where in your life are you tempted to chase the wind? You know, I don't. At work, at home, in your relationships. So I'm going to leave you with a challenge so you can think about this. This week, when you find yourself maybe in a conflict, or when you find yourself in a predicament, what would it look like to choose to lose? That doesn't mean being weak. It means being like Jesus. You know, maybe let someone else take the credit, also if you've done the thing. Let them go first. Let go of your right to be right. That's not passive, that's powerful. Because there's a big difference between losing and choosing to lose. And in that moment, when you let go, you might just find the power of God showing up in you. So do you want to experience the power of God in your life? I do. I don't know you guys. So just not believe in it. Not just believe in it. Not just sing about it. Not just come to church on Sunday morning. Experience it. Max Lucado, I think you probably know it, writer, pastor, said, you can stand waist deep in the Colorado River and still die of thirst. Until you scoop and swallow, the water does your system no good. Until we gulp Christ, the same is true. So we can be sitting here every week. If we don't accept the daily invitation, it will not do any good for us. So, say yes to the invitation on the cross. The place where Jesus looked the weakest, bleeding, rejected, alone, was the moment when God's power was most glorified. Again, that's a paradox. He won by losing. So if you want to follow him, it will sometimes also for us look like giving up power, giving up control, feel like losing. But we sang this, I think in the last song. We are fighting, a battle is already won. Something better, something lasting. We are fighting for something that we know how it goes. So, do not just wear the cross. Live that cross daily. And watch how the power of God will flow through your life. So let's pray.